Mr. Johnny Cash here with what to play on patch day. The new patch will be hitting the live servers tomorrow. Let me warn you, intentionally, apart from maybe itemization, there will probably not be much change in this patch. A lot of 3 stars have been buffed, which might make reroll in general a bit more interesting to play. So let's take a look at some comps you can play or test on patch day tomorrow. Let's start with probably the biggest change balance-wise this patch. We got Rebel served to us straight from Riot. Jinx got a small numbers buff, as well as Gangplank having his damage increased to instantly help Jinx resetting. On top of that, the 6 Rebel trait has gotten stronger as well, which means all in all, this is going to be a very solid comp to play. The goal here is to reach level 8 as stable as you can at around stage 4-2 or 4-3 and grab GP either from Carousel or roll down your goal to find him if you didn't high roll Jinx 2 before. Otherwise, if you did, you might also go to 9 and add another strong 5 cost. I like Echo. I highly prefer getting a Giant Slayer for Jinx, followed by a GA for Gangplank, and either Morelos or Red buff to help the early mid-game. Item holder for GP can be Rumble or any other unit you high roll. GP without GA is just troll, so make sure you can build it. Get either Red buff for a Blaster or Echo later, or Morelos for Asol. It's hard to find an item holder for Morelos in this comp before hitting Asol, so just beware of that. Play it when you get swords, an early Rebel start, or an early Jinx, or pivot into it later when getting an early Gangplank. Overall, I think that's a very solid comp with a big top 2 potential. Risen up in popularity in the last patch and will probably reach its peak in this one, Battlecast. There have been a few buffs in the items and in the trade itself. I prefer playing the reroll version of this build where you try to slow roll on level 5 to 3-star your Kog'Maw, Eloy, Graves and Nocturne while making sure you reach level 8 in time to play 6 Battlecast. Check out my guide for more details for that. A quick note here though, since a lot of people seem to struggle with that, don't overcommit to 3-starring your units if you get unlucky rolls. Move on and go to number 8. Anyways, a big changer here will be the reworked static shift that provides a damage buff to CC'd and shielded enemies like protectors. This damage should count as an extra instance of damage, thus making it easier for us to proc Battlecast, since it will occur on Gravespline, Nocturne Fear, and maybe even Eloy's Resistance Steal, though I'm fairly positive it doesn't count as a crowd control, but we will see. Channa might be a nice option for level 9, Force of Natures, or Battlecast Spatula games to help with that, because she provides a lot of CC. Don't hard force this build, make sure you can build one of Cog's items in stage 1, preferably now Static Shift or Red buff, and find a Blaster to help you survive through the early game. Drawing a bit of power away from Yi and giving it to other section in the comp. Bladebros has always been a high roll perfect items and units or get 8 comp, and will most likely continue to be. The goal here is to get your hands on as many bows as you can get. RFC is simply mandatory to put on Yi so he doesn't eat the frontline AoE or CC. It's hard to force this build since you should be having 2 bows and a Master Yi before stage 3. Getting a Blade Master sped is a huge power spike, by the way. The new Hand of Justice might make up for the Yi nerfs. I can see this being a very, very strong item on him, as well as making use of lesser used components in this build with Glove and Tear, as long as we're not getting one-shot. Play 6 Blade Masters as soon as you have the units, most likely at level 7, and slow roll from there on to 3-star Yi, Shen, Yasuo, and Set. Sometimes you're dropping too low on health and you have to roll to stabilize in order to not die. A 2-star Yi and 6 Blade Masters should be the point where you can safely slow roll into stage 5. More details can be found on my Yi guide, just the items are a bit outdated there, and the playstyle is less aggressive now due to the meta leaning more towards the late game and slow rolling. There has also been a nice guide to Master Yi published on Reddit a few days ago, so you can check that out if you can find it. This one is more like a bonus because it is something I really want to play as soon as possible. I'm very excited to try the Asriel Lucian Reroll comp. This comp is making use of the significant buffs to Lucian, Asriel, and Vi 3-star. All 3 of them are getting a huge power spike should you manage to get there, all while providing a very decent early and mid game with Cybers and Chrono. Chrono 4 has also received a minor buff, so Taking all of this together into consideration, I can see this clearly becoming a meta comp soon. You can also try to hit level 9 if you high roll in this game and even play 6 chrono, which has been buffed even more. I would suggest playing a strong cybersport to prevent losing health too much in the early game, while collecting tiers and saving gold to slow roll our units at level 7. I will be playing it in a similar style to how I played Bladebros in patch 10.12, with an aggressive stage 2 and 3 to get one of our carries 2-star to stabilize, and then start slow rolling for 3 stars from stage 4. I feel the early and mid game is superior to Blade Masters with a lower late game ceiling. Astral 3 with mana and AP items should hit like a bomb into the rising clustered rebel comps that might come up in this patch. I definitely want your opinion on this one. Let me know what you think or what you would suggest. That was my last suggestion for this video. It's been a pleasure and I thank you very much for watching to the very end. Next video will probably be something gameplay related, or rather climbing related, so please consider subscribing if you don't want to miss it. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one.